Hello everyone, it's time for the very first Nintendo video review on the channel. Note that I don't have the means yet to be able to do 3DS game reviews as videos, but I do have the means to do hardware reviews with my new Surface Pro 2 tablet. Video quality might not be 100%, but at least it's doable. So, let's take a look at the Nintendo 2DS. It's a bit of an older model to be reviewing now, but let's see what we can do. So we've got the form factor here. The design has no hinge at all, so it doesn't shut with a clamshell design. It's all one piece, so you just kind of hold it, kind of like you would a tablet if you were holding a tablet in portrait mode. So let's take a look at what we have here. On the front, we've got two screens. These are the same size as the screens on the normal 3DS, not the XL. And we've got our circle pad, got our D-pad here, our face buttons, A, B, X, and Y. Start and select over on the right of the screens, kind of like they are on the new 3DS models. We've got our home button down here, our power button here, and on the bottom, as you can see, we've got a headphone jack here if you want to plug in some earbuds, and we've got a sleep mode slider here. On the 3DS, you had to close up the system with the hinge to be able to put it in sleep mode. Since you can't really close this, they built this slider so you can just lock it to the right. It'll go into sleep mode, and then as soon as you push it to the left, it will automatically wake back up. Now, what else do we have here? We have camera up here, as well as cameras here on the back. And we've got one mono speaker, which I'll be talking about that later, because that is the only speaker on the system. Then let's take a look at the sides. On this side, we've got a volume slider, and that's pretty much all that's on this side. On the other side, we've got the SD card slot. Let's just open that up real quick. Note that this is just for full-size SD cards, and a 4 GB SD card does come with the system. Let's slip that back in. And we've got the stylus pen. And then on the top, we got our two triggers for L and R, power button, and this is the cartridge slot to put in 3DS and Nintendo DS games. That's about all I've got for the design. Now let's talk about performance. If you look at this device, it's got a pretty hard plastic material to it, and it's pretty solid in your hand. This is definitely meant to take a beating. The 2DS was originally marketed straight to kids, and this is definitely a good thing to do with a handheld marketed to kids. It's sturdy. I can probably drop it on the floor a dozen times later, and it'll probably still work. That is a very good thing. So let's talk about the performance of this other stuff. Let's talk about the controls. Controls are pretty comfortable. Like the first time I picked this thing up and started to play a game with it, it was. I won't lie. It's pretty comfortable. I didn't think I would like it at first, but it really fits in your hand well, and the material is smooth enough that it feels very comfortable when you've got it. So, where does the problem with the control scheme lie? Well, we'll wait until this gets loaded, and I will tell you. If you noticed before, the L and R triggers are very high up on the system itself. They're up here, at the very top. On the normal 3DS scheme, the L and R triggers were like right behind these buttons. When I play the game, my fingers just kind of rest here. This is good and bad. The good thing is my finger is right here by the stylus pen, making it extremely convenient when I need to get the pen out for touch controls. Now let's talk about the L and R triggers. This is like this right here. This is how you're supposed to play it. This is how you're supposed to play it with the L and R controllers, and this is very uncomfortable for me. I mean, every time I'm playing the game and I stop using L and R, my fingers just naturally do this. And every time I have to use L and R, I have to reach my fingers back up. And even right now, as I'm just holding the L button down, my two pointer fingers feel very strained. This is definitely an issue here. I mean, it's not going to be something that's going to give me carpal tunnel syndrome, but it's not comfortable. So, the other bit of performance we need to talk about this is the speaker. This is a mono speaker. This means that you cannot have stereo sound without headphones. Now, if you plug in headphones, earbuds, you can have stereo sound no problem. But by itself, it is mono, and it does not sound nearly as good as the natural sound coming out of the other 3DS models. So, just to give you a little peek, I'll bring this speaker closer. And let's do Song of Time. Just come back to where we were. Note that this is on full volume. I mean, even now it's not that loud for me, even at full volume while I'm recording this. So, let's talk about the other bits of performance. I have no problem with the screens. Actually, in a way, I prefer the screens to be like this. The 3DS XL has bigger screens, which means you can see much more jagged edges on the character models. Now, on the smaller screen, you can barely even tell some jagged edges are there. Like, let's zoom close on Ocarina of Time. When I'm playing this on my XL, I can see lots of jagged edges around Link's uniform, but when I'm playing it like this, I can barely tell there are any jagged edges there at all. The only other thing I'll say about like game performance is that do note that this is not one of the new 3DS models, so you will not be able to use Super Nintendo Virtual Console on here or 3DS new exclusive games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D or The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Most games work, but there are just a few that do not. The screen I would say on, like, it's fairly responsive, but I'm having to press my fingers down pretty hard on this to get it to respond. This is the same way all of the pre-new line touchscreens worked. The new 3DS really just improved it by a lot. So, as we wrap up this review, the Nintendo 2DS I really like. The tablet look of it really put me off at first, but after using it even for an hour or two, I prefer this to even my new 3DS XL. It's really comfortable, save for the L and R triggers. And the other two downers are the mono speaker right here, and the fact that it's not quite up to par with the new line of 3DS models. So Nintendo is really overdue for releasing a new version of the 2DS, which may or may not actually happen. So that's all I've got for you. Reviews to Go rates the Nintendo 2DS a 7 out of 10. If you'd like to comment on this, feel free to below or head to my site where this will also be posted at www.reviewstogo.com.